Today's episode is brought to you by Bones Coffee Company. You can forget about boring coffee when you drink Bones Coffee. Not only do they offer a variety of flavors such as strawberry cheesecake and maple bacon, they are a family-owned company that puts great detail not only in their coffee, but in the artwork that comes on each individual bag. Bones Coffee has a coffee club that will deliver your favorite coffee to your door every month. If that wasn't enough, they also have some amazing swag to offer. Check out Bones Coffee Company today. I'll have my affiliate links in the show notes for you. Hi guys, so Nova here for another week's edition of Mobster Monday. This week I'm talking about Tony Spilotro. Who am I? Well, I'm Southwest Missouri's #1 true crime writer, author, blogger, and soon-to-be podcaster. If you'd like to learn more about me and sign up for my free newsletter, go to my website, sonovainc.com. There you can sign up for my free ebook and get a free newsletter sent to you on Mondays is Mobster Mondays, and on Fridays is Cold Case Friday. So you will get all kinds of freebies if you jump over to that website. So let's get to talking about Tony Spilotro. If you hear some shuffling of papers, I've got quite a few notes on this guy. He was quite the character. In fact, he was the basis of Martin Scorsese's mob movie Casino that came out in 1955. He was the basis of the character Nicky Santoro. So you might have recognized him as Nicky Santoro, but his real name was Tony Spilotro. So who was Tony Spilotro? Well, he was born in May 19th, 1938, and he was born Anthony John Spilotro, and he became known as Tony the Ant. Now, like most of these monikers, they actually are taglines that the media places on them. So we will talk about how he got his nickname here in a little bit. But as a child, his father was named Pasquale Patsy Spilotro Sr., and he ran a restaurant that was kind of the local mob hangout. Unfortunately, the father died of an aneurysm at 55, and he had 6 sons that he left behind. Perhaps even more unfortunate, 5 of them chose a life of crime, and one of them, his junior, actually went to school and became a well-known oral surgeon. So why one chose a higher path than the others, I really don't know. You'd have to talk to a psychiatrist about that one. So anyway, so Tony was obviously chose a career in crime, and he was enforcer for the Chicago outfit stationed in Las Vegas in the 1970s and 80s. Now, he was in charge of protecting the mob's skim money off of the profits of the casino. So the casino was supposed to make so much money, and they were supposed to report that in. And of course, before they made their report, they took some off the top. Before they made their report, that was the skim. Well, Tony was supposed to protect the mob's interests in the casinos. That was his job. Well, he decided to branch out, and in 1976, he formed his own burglary ring. Say that 10 times fast. I haven't had enough coffee to do it. So anyways, he decided to form his own little gang in Las Vegas, and the media tagged that as the Hole in the Wall Gang, because they were known to drill through walls, drill through ceilings to gain entry into their target. And so that was another nickname given by the media. Well, the funny nickname that he came up with, Tony the Ant, was because an FBI agent named William Romer called him a little ant. And in 1960s, that word would have been terribly inappropriate for television, and so they just shortened it to Ant, and so that is how it stuck, Tony the Ant. So that's just a fun little trivia question for you if anyone ever asks. So, which I'm sure they won't, but you never know. Some of these true crime groups that I'm a part of are kind of crazy. Okay, so while they were doing all of these burglaries, they had, like every good gangster, they have a legitimate business that fronts as their business, and then they fence stolen goods through there. And Tony the Ant was the Gold Rush Ltd pawn shop, and it was off of Sahara Avenue in Las Vegas. And so he would fence his stolen goods through there. And so anyways, life was running along okay, but there was one major problem with Tony the Ant. um, Tony liked to bring way too much attention to the mob. He was a very brutal enforcer. He brutalized people before he killed them, and by the time of his death in 1986, the FBI estimates he was involved in 22 murders. But he brought on too much heat. In 1971 is actually when Joe Batters had put him in charge of the matters in Las Vegas. By 1974, 3 years later, the LA Times runs an article that says the gangland style slayings in Las Vegas was more than the previous 25 years combined. So that kind of spike in murder really brings on the attention of the local PD and FBI, obviously. So he was already causing a little too much trouble with the mafia. But in turn, he would do something and step over another line that would sign his death warrant. Okay, he was actually dating, even though he was married, he was having an extramarital affair with a showgirl named Jerry McGee. Now, problem is Jerry McGee happened to be married to another mobster, and his name was, oh my goodness, I lost my paper. Where was he? Un momento. Let's see. His name was. I lost it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I lost it. I know I wrote it down. Oh well. What in the world? It's on my papers somewhere. Okay. Well, the problem is he was friends. There it is. Frank Rosenthal. Lefty Rosenthal. Um, Jerry McGee was married to Lefty Rosenthal, and they had a really stormy relationship, and she ended up dying of an overdose in a Las Vegas hotel room, I believe, if I remember correctly. Of course, who knows if it was a legitimate overdose or if it was a forced overdose. We'll never know on that. But so he was already bringing too much attention, and then he started dating another mobster's wife, which is really a big no-no in the mafia world. And so that is where he really kind of screwed up. Now, in 1981, I believe it is. Now I've got my papers all mixed up, so I'm not sure where my notes are. Yes, July 4th, 1981, they had laid out an elaborate plan. The Hole in the Wall gang was going to rob Bertha's gifts and jewelry. Okay, now they had a very elaborate plan. They had people, for lookouts. They had Sal Romano, who was specialized in disabling alarms. Well, the problem being is by this point, the ant was really causing a lot of ruckus, and there was a lot of people becoming really upset with him. And so I don't really know what the reasonings were, but Sal Romano turned informant, and he gave the FBI a heads up about this elaborate plan to hit Bertha's. And so by the time the Hole in the Wall gang actually hit Bertha's, that building had been under surveillance for quite a while, and 6 of the 10 members of the gang were arrested. Now, that included Frank Collada. Now, Frank Collada sat in jail and kept his mouth shut for 6 months because that's what a good mobster does. They take it on the chin when it comes to jail time, and they keep their mouth shut. But here we're talking about Tony the Ant causing trouble. Tony the Ant had been caught on tape hiring a hit out on his own man, Frank Collada, and talking about how he wanted him dead. Well, the FBI ends up having these recordings, and they play it for Frank, and that was the end. He was done after that, and he came forward and actually testified against the ant. But somehow he got off, and it became he was acquitted of this somehow. Well, he may have been acquitted in the court of law, but what he didn't know, in a back room, dark room somewhere, there was a meeting taking place that he would not get out of, and the hit was hired. And so the FBI was tired of all of the chaos he was bringing, and in reality, Spilotro signed the death warrant for the mob in Las Vegas. I mean, they really did. I mean, by the time he was taken down, that was the beginning of the end of the hold of the mafia on the casinos. And so they you know, maybe this came a little too late. I don't know. But on, let's see, papers everywhere. On June 14th, 1986, Spilotro and his brother Michael Spilotro, they actually hop in his vehicle and they leave his Oak Park home, and they head out, and they're never seen again. Now, for 8 days, nobody knew where they were or what happened to them. They were presumed missing. But on June 22nd, the bodies were found stripped down to their underclothes, buried on top of each other in a cornfield near the Willow Slough Preserve outside of Enos, Indiana. That is 96 miles south of Oak Park, where they were last seen. So, of course, everyone had a good idea it was a mob hit, but it was never really closed until April 25th, 2005. So a staggering 19 years later before this comes out. The FBI had launched a massive investigation, and they called it Operation Family Secrets. And during this investigation, they came across a lot of information, and on April 25th of 2005 is when they announced they had arrested 14 members of the Chicago outfit and indicted them for 18 murders, including those of the Spilotro boys. Now, like I said, the FBI suspected that Spilotro himself was involved in 22 murders before he died. So, but it was a long time coming, but then they did find out what actually happened to the Spilotro boys. See, Michael was not a made man, and so an informant, I believe it, I don't think I wrote down the name or if I even found the name. The information the FBI obtained, however, they were told that Michael was lured to a house in Bentonville, Illinois, where he was supposed to be made man. And the two brothers went down into the basement where they were attacked and killed. And then they were taken nearly 100 miles south. And that's where we come up with the little saying, the ant is buried in the cornfield. So that is this week's of Mobster Monday. And if you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, like and share. All those things really help me out. And then, like I said before, go to synovaink.com, synovaink.com. Sign up for your free ebook and your free weekly newsletter. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.